Shalom. Call Haloyim Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai by Hashem Rachakodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. I just wanted to jump into John 8. We're going to read verses 1 through 11. And there's a few things you can get, a few lessons you can get from this story. But of course, the biggest one is to always consider your own ways and consider your own ways first before you go judging and calling out the next man, especially if you're doing it for the purpose of trying to make it seem as if you're more holy than somebody else, that you're more righteous than the next person. And that's nothing more than pride and lifting yourself up and having a big ego, which the Lord is going to call you out for doing something like that anyway, which is exactly what we see in this story. But once again, we have to always remember to examine ourselves first, because we're supposed to be judges. Nothing is wrong with seeing something or saying something if you see something. You're supposed to do that, actually. The Bible talks about how this word is for correction. We're supposed to help out the next man and admonish our fellow brother next to us and sister for the purpose of receiving salvation and building up our spirits. But you can't do that. You can't be your brother's keeper if you first don't examine your own ways first. So this is John 8 verse 1. It says, Yahushai went unto the Mount of Olives. And early in the morning he came again into the temple, and all the people came unto him, and he sat down and taught them. And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery, and when they had set her in the midst, they say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act. And you have to understand in the spirit that the Most High made this woman commit adultery and be found in the very act, all so that this story can be written, so that we, the hopeful elect in these latter days, can have this situation as an example of how not to act, and I guess how to act, right? Verse 5, Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned, but what sayest thou? This they said, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him. But Yahushai stooped down, and with his finger wrote on the ground as though he heard them not. So you got to imagine this playing out like it's a movie. They came in, probably grabbing the girl, one on the left, one on the right, maybe another, who knows, grabbing her arm, dragging her in. She's looking all distraught and scared. They're trying to trip up Yahushai. He hears them, ignores them, but of course he hears them and knew they were coming. But he ignores them, stoops on the ground, and he begins writing something on the ground. And it doesn't say what he began to write. But check this out. Verse 7. So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her. And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even unto the last. And Yahushua was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst thereof. Now what the apostles teach, and I believe it because it has to be true, what else could it be? When Yahushua stooped down on the ground and began to write, all of a sudden they saw it and they heard what he said, He that is without sin cast the first stone. So they heard him say that, saw what he wrote on the ground, and it says they were, what? Convicted by their own conscience. So nothing more had to be said. They didn't say anything. Yahushua didn't say anything else. Said that one sentence. So in the spirit, what Yahushua had to be writing on the ground was all of their sins, which is why he said, he who is without sin cast the first stone. And then boom, they heard that, read all their sins. So what can we gather from this story? is that we have to first always examine ourselves. Don't always try to catch somebody else in their sin, looking for somebody else. Because when you do that, you're only doing it for an unrighteous reason, trying to make yourself look better, trying to make it seem, oh, look what I'm doing, look what I found out, look at this man, look what this brother or sister is doing, making yourself seem better, trying to put yourself on some kind of pedestal. Now, of course, these scribes and Pharisees here, these wicked ones, were just trying to catch Yahushua off guard, but not understanding that they were the fools the whole time. Like I mentioned, many different examples you can get from this story, but you have to examine yourself first. Because if not, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua will do something to where you're called out. Just like what Yahushua did to them. Wrote their sins on the ground, and the Spirit said, look, if you're without sin, cast a stone. And I bet you one of them, probably more than one of them that came, committed adultery too. Didn't say nothing. Verse 10, when Yahushua had lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers? Hath no man condemned thee? She said, No man, Lord. And Yahushua said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. And that's the point. Salaki about my reading. A little out of breath because I just left the gym. Stumbling over my words and stuff. This is the last one we're going to get. That was John 8. And now Matthew. I think it's Matthew 8. Let me see. There we go. Matthew 7, verses 3 through 5. Because obviously this brings us home, getting right to the point of the video. We're going to read it in the NLT on the right. Verse 7 says, And why worry about a speck in your friend's eye when you have a log in your own? How can you think of saying to your friend, Let me help you get rid of that speck in your eye, when you can't see past the log in your own eye? Right, so there's something that's blocking your own vision. Something that's holding you back. Something that you're doing wrong, and you're trying to help the next man out. You got to worry about yourself first. And it could be that by you examining yourself and getting whatever is in your way blocking your path, since you've overcome that trial, potentially you can use that as an example to help the next man that you see going through something. Even if it's a different situation than yours, you'll still be able to draw from how you overcame in the spirit to help the next man overcome and jump over his hurdle. So you have to examine yourself first. Don't go out trying to correct other people and examine other people. Worry about yourself. Why do you think the scriptures say, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling? Your own salvation. And then you can be your brother's keeper. That's how it has to go. It only makes sense. Verse 5 says, Hypocrite, first get rid of the log in your own eye, then you will see well enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eye. Once again, we're supposed to be our brother's keeper. And we're supposed to be judges. Ultimately, we're learning to be those future judges over the entire world. But that comes with self-examination. And you have to be real with yourself. You can't be fake, you can't be phony, and you can't be scared to call yourself out on these certain things that you're dealing with, no matter what it may be. Your own sins or just, I'll say, self-characteristics that maybe you don't like about yourself, that you want to overcome, that you feel bad about, that you know is holding you back. Yeah, don't be afraid. Pray about it, fast about it if you need to. Shoot, maybe even ask for advice. That could be a way that you get rid of the log in your eye. Ask for advice, seek counsel. Nothing is wrong with that. Can't be prideful in his ministry. Then you come up on a level and you can worry about judging, correcting, and giving advice to the next man, the next woman. I had a few more presets, but I think that was a point, and your boy's tired. So Lord's will, that was edifying to the elect. Just keep in mind all those things, because we are getting closer and closer to the end days, and we're going to have to examine ourselves deeper and deeper and more and more as these prophecies continue to unfold. And we have to be our brother's keeper, looking out for each other in this thing. And that's a part of this job, our job in this ministry. So call Haloyim Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rachakodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.